This year, the demand for H1B has broken all records. The number of applications for H1B visa were more than 3 times the available slots. Now that the government is allowing vaccinated people to enter the US, many people who are going to start working in the US on H1B visa are about to start their journey in the land of opportunities, the land of dreams, the United States of America. But there are many aspects of life in America that you must know about before you start this journey. There are a lot of struggles and there are a variety of those struggles. But don't worry, I'm not here to scare you. I am only going to tell you about some of those struggles, some of those issues, and then I will tell you the solutions to those issues. Point number 1, you are likely used to your mother cooking for you, or you are likely used to your maid bringing you some food, or you are likely used to an istri wala coming to your home, collecting your clothes and returning those clothes back to you. Guess what? That makes you spoiled, and none of that is going to happen in America. So what is the solution? You have to learn self-dependency. You have to learn to cook, you have to learn to clean, you have to learn how to do your laundry, you have to learn how to iron your clothes, you have to learn how to fold your clothes properly. All of that you need to learn on your own. But you might say, you know what, I will just eat out every single time. But guess what? There is a reason that America suffers from such a terrible obesity problem. All those people who are obese were not like that before. The food that you eat in restaurants here, and for the most part anywhere in the world, is made to taste good. Just because it tastes good doesn't mean that it is actually good for you. A restaurant doesn't give a damn to your health. Now, even if you are not that health conscious, the point is that eating out every single time will cost you quite a bit of money. Similarly, you can say that, you know what, I don't want to do my own laundry, I can just give my clothes away for dry cleaning. Yes, you can do that. For all your formal clothing, you can do that. But for your normal clothing, you still have to do your own laundry, you still need to wash your own clothes, you still need to learn how to iron them. You need to learn how to mop, you need to learn how to use a vacuum cleaner, learn all those skills. Now the second issue is a very big one, all right? Everything costs more here. Initial expenses are very high. In the beginning, it is very difficult to get things done. New immigrants, particularly those coming on H1B visa and those coming on student visa, have to face a lot of hurdles right after they land in this country. And the underlying problem here is that you are not getting paid as yet, but you have to incur a lot of expenses. It can take 1 to 2 months before you can get your social security number. Until you get your social security number and build good credit history, it is very difficult to get a good credit card to manage your expenses. You might have the best Indian credit score, but it is null and void in America. And even if you get a credit card here, the initial limit is very low. It is definitely not sufficient enough to meet your initial expenses. So what is the solution to this problem? One good suggestion I have for you is to get a Zolve credit card. With Zolve, even before you come to America, sitting in India, you can open a Zolve US account. And you can apply for a US credit card within just 5 minutes. You do not need a social security number in America, and you do not need a US credit score to apply for the Zolve account. So soon after you land, you can start making online purchases through the credit card, and within 3 to 5 business days, you get the physical copy of the credit card that you can use. With this, you can start building your US credit score from day one. This also dispenses the hassle of running around the banks to open your bank account. You don't have to use costly forex cards, and you definitely don't have to use non-rewarding debit cards. And the good news here is that there is no application fee, no annual fee, no foreign transaction fee, and no security deposit needed for getting your credit card. And not just that, you get free withdrawals at all MoneyPass ATMs around the country. But wait a minute, it gets even better. The credit limit for students is $1,500, and it can go to $5,000. No other credit card will give you a $1,500 limit for new students in this country. I almost guarantee you that. For working professionals, the limit starts at $1,500, but it can go up to $10,000. And you don't have to worry, because your Zolve US account is FDIC insured for up to $250,000, and you get 0% APR for 6 months. So you can make all your purchases initially without having to worry about the interest rates. And Zolve has also partnered with Dosh to provide you geolocation based rewards, where you can get up to 10% cash back with more than 10,000 merchants. You can apply for Zolve using my reference link given below in the description. And using my link, you will get a $30 reward upon the activation of your Zolve US credit card. The third issue and the third struggle is that you can be replaced anytime. This is the corporate culture in a capitalistic world, okay? employers are not bound to keep you in their companies if they don't need you. Although this is true for almost everybody in America, but the point is that if you're an H1B, you have very limited time to find a good job opportunity that will actually sponsor your H1B visa, where you can transfer your H1B visa to their company. And that can be very challenging because you need to have that job within 60 days if I'm not wrong. So the solution to this problem is that try and keep your skills always marketable and be willing to move. But there is another part of this problem, all right? Even if you are able to keep your job, what happened unfortunately in Trump administration is that a large number of visas were denied for renewal. A good number of people had only 2 weeks to pack their bags and leave because by the time they got their denial letter, they did not have enough time. So what is the solution to that? Before you take those trips to New York City or Chicago or some other mountains in Pacific, before you do all those things, focus on saving some first. Don't get carried away by your friends posting their pictures on Facebook or Instagram. First, build your savings and then have fun. I understand that life is not all about money, it is also about experiences. But then experiences should have a back support of your savings, right? Therefore, my suggestion to you is at bare minimum have at least 3 months of your expenses saved up before you do all those things. The fourth issue is that spouses and children of those on H1B are actually not allowed to work here. An exception to that is that if you are in an advanced stage of your green card process, then your spouse can apply for an H4 working permit. But the point is that the number of delays that are happening, even getting a job on H4 dependent visa is hard, and then because of this visa renewal process, it can be much harder to keep on working. In fact, many spouses of those H1B holders, even though they were able to earn their job, they are still not able to work because of these extensive delays in processing of their visa permits. In case of children now, it is even harder. On a dependent visa, your children cannot work. So what is the solution? One solution is that if your spouse is able to get a job on H4 visa, maybe she can also get a job on H1 visa. So it is always a good opportunity to try and apply for their own H1B or actually use that opportunity in the US to actually attend a university here and get American education. Learning here in the universities here is a fantastic opportunity that your spouse can avail. And for your children, they will eventually have to get their own student visa, which is F1 visa, and start their own journey on their own visa. Now, a fifth very important issue is to do with your language and communication. What many people do not realize is that English is not a standard language. There is an American English, British English, Indian English. There are different varieties of English. To give you some examples, you do not say, I passed out of college. Okay, that would confuse an American. Passing out means fainting. So they would think that you really got drunk and therefore you fainted. And that is far from what you are trying to communicate. So instead you say, I graduated from college. Similarly, when an American says that I'm pissed off, it means that they are angry. It doesn't mean what it might sound like. Similarly, if you tell an American that you love to eat lady fingers, they would be confused as hell. Why would you eat fingers of a lady? Okay, but the right word in the US is okra. Bhindi is okra, not ladyfinger. Now, how do you learn about these things? Watch American movies and American TV shows. American TV shows would be a great opportunity to learn about those cultural nuances. So my solution is simple. Watch American TV shows that are very successful and have a lot of cultural nuances. So my recommendation would be to watch Friends for sure. Then you can also watch Big Bang Theory, you can also watch Modern Family, and you can also watch How I Met Your Mother. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. These are some of my recommendations about those TV shows. Now, similar to this, the next issue is cultural misunderstandings between people. The power distance in US corporate offices and work culture is very low as compared to India. You do not go ahead and call everybody sir. You can actually call people by their names. But when you are with a cop, you always address them as sir and behave as respectfully as possible. This is especially true when you are pulled over by a cop. If you are driving a car and the police officer stops you, do not argue with them. If the cop gives you a ticket and you think that ticket is wrongfully given, you can go ahead and fight that ticket in the court. That ticket is not an admission of guilt. You cannot fight with the cop like this guy is doing.
No, I did the complete stop.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with this here.
I'm also not going to argue.
So here's the deal. If you fail to sign the citation, then I have to place you under arrest. That's the last thing I want to do.
Do not be that guy, all right? Now, the seventh very big issue is that for many people, their H1B visa does not get renewed or their project ends. For whatever reason, they have to pack their bags and leave, and they have to leave quite abruptly. And the real problem comes in when your children are involved, because your children might start attending schools here, and by the time you must return, it is possible that they are too adjusted to schooling here and they will struggle to adjust to the schooling system back in India. In fact, I personally know a case of a man who worked for an Indian outsourcing company, and he was working at an insurance client that they had, an insurance provider in Cleveland, US. Now what happened is that when this person came on H1B visa to work at the client location in Cleveland, his son was in grade 1, in class 1, all right? And he worked there for 6 years, and the company did not agree to take him as their employee and sponsor his green card. So after the end of 6 years, he had to return, right? And by this time, his son was in 7th grade or 7th class. And this son really did not want to go to a foreign country. For him, at the time, it felt like a foreign country where he had to take new language classes. For example, either he had to learn Hindi, which he had not learned, or any state language. If you go to a particular state, if it is a non-Hindi speaking state, for example, if you go to somewhere in Andhra, Telangana, you have to learn Telugu in school perhaps, or if you go to Karnataka, you have to learn Kannada. And if they are not trained at that level, you cannot just start to learn a language from scratch when you are in 7th or 8th or 9th grade. It is very hard. So what is the solution? See, there are a lot of organizations here that can help you with that. Okay, for example, in Dallas-Fort Worth area, there is Chinmaya Mission, where they teach children about their own culture. Their own upbringing is in that area, where they teach about their history, they teach about your religion, and they also teach languages at those institutions. Okay, there are Telugu, Tamil, Marathi, Kannada, Punjabi, all variety of languages are taught, where children learn how to read and write in that language. Now, eighth issue can be very big, and you must know about it. Okay, US is not a commuter friendly country. There are a few exceptions such as New York City, Chicago, Boston, and some others perhaps, but by and far in the most of the US, you have to be able to drive your own car. The public transportation system either is non-existent or is very poor. When I came to the US in 2006, for almost 4 years, I had to walk 10 minutes to reach the bus stop, okay? And then there was only one bus every hour. So if I happened to miss my bus by even few seconds, I had to wait a full 1 hour to catch the next bus, okay? And then that bus would take 45 to 50 minutes to reach the train station. And at the train station, again, I had to wait for the next train. Now, each train was after 20 minutes, okay? So if I just reached the station and I missed my train, again, I had to wait at least 20 minutes to catch the next train. And then after I reached at my school, I had to walk again for 5-7 minutes. So it was a long journey, and it used to trouble me for as long as I did not get my car. I simply got really frustrated. So my solution was that I saved up and bought a car. Right now, remember that I bought a cheap, affordable car, which was a used car. I paid around $4,500 for a '99 Nissan Sentra that I paid for in 2009. But in my case, I was student the whole time then, right? But in your case, if you're earning, I would recommend that do not go and buy a new car or a very expensive car. Do not try to live your fancy life right in the beginning, because you are still a new driver. You need to get used to driving in this country, following the traffic laws here, and get used to those highways, okay? New drivers are the most accident-prone drivers. So first, buy a cheap, reliable car, use it for a while, maybe 1, 2, 3 years, how much ever long it takes, and only then buy your dream car. I am personally not much into cars at all. As long as it is a good functional car, I'm good with it. But I understand that some people have car fancies. And the last and final issue I have to raise for you is finding a good place to rent when you just move here. Do not blindly rely on online reviews, okay? A lot of these reviews that are overly positive could be fake. So the real struggle is to find a safe and a reliable place to rent. Safe, you understand, the area has to be safe, and reliable, the management has to be proactive. When you go to that apartment complex, see how well maintained it is, okay? See how people are. I would even go as far as saying live in an Airbnb or a hotel or a motel or with your friends before you actually start renting, because it is very important to go check the place out on your own before you decide to rent. So it is very important to explore many places and then decide where you want to live. So I hope all that helps. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind, and may God bless the United States of America.